Wait a minute, what makes you think these people who show up and call themselves Jews or call themselves the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what makes you think they actually are? I mean, anyone can make these claims. Earlier today, I got Grok to admit that Palestinians are more related to ancient Jews than modern day Jews are. It took a little bit of guiding, I would say, of Grok, because Grok has had a lobotomy where it is programmed to say, oh no, the Jews are related to the Jews and of ancient time, and they're the ones who are entitled to the land. But that's not exactly true. And once I said to Grok, asked him certain questions, Grok came around with the correct answer that the Palestinians are actually more related to ancient Jews than Jews. This is obviously an important question because the whole claim of the Zionist Jews is that this land is ours, it's biblically ours, it was given to us by God, and you all need to leave. And my response to that has always been, God very clearly, if you're going to go down that road, and if you're going to say, the Bible and God and all this stuff, God gave the land to the descendants, the actual physical blood descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, later became Israel, gave to the blood descendants and did not put a caveat on which religion they practiced. It was just, your descendants get this land. So then the question is, well, then who are the actual descendants? And I assert that the vast majority of Jews from antiquity converted out of Judaism. Why would I say that? Because the 10 tribes of Israel were lost. Where were they lost to? They weren't lost like they sunk into a sinkhole. They were lost because they converted out of Judaism. So only 2 tribes remained as Jews, and the other 10 absorbed into the other cultures and religions around them. Many of them converted to Christianity and then later converted to Islam. And that would be the modern Palestinians living on that land today. So I just ended up asking Grok this. And what prompted this was Israel's foreign ministry decides to ask Grok a question, which prompted me to ask Grok these questions. And it says, "Dear Grok, what are the only sovereign states that have ever existed in the land of Israel?" And the answer is the sovereign states centered on the land of Israel were the ancient kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the Hasmonean kingdom, the Crusader kingdom of Jerusalem, and the modern state of Israel. For most other periods, the area served as a province of larger empires, including Assyria, Babylonia, Persia, Rome, the Caliphates, the Ottomans, and the British Mandate. Philistine and Canaanite city-states also held local independence at times. So, obviously they're trying to say that the state of Israel has been the only sovereign state of the land, and therefore they have more claim to the land than anybody else. So I decided to go on my own thread asking Grok questions, and my question was to Grok, which demographic of people have lived there the longest and in the greatest numbers? And Grok says, the local Levantine populations ancestral to both modern Jews and Palestinians. Excuse me, we're still under smoke here in Idaho from the fires in Washington and Oregon. So you have to just put up with me. Anyway, the local Levantine populations ancestral to both modern Jews and Palestinians have the deepest continuous roots with shared majority Canaanite ancestry confirmed by genetics. Jews formed the majority in antiquity, 1st century, and maintained an unbroken presence for over 3,000 years as a distinct group, though reduced to a small minority for the most of the last 1,500 years.
I have to be honest with you. Kim Iverson is all over the place. This is the typical playbook, like many Christians who speak against the 1948ers. They have no problem denouncing that they are not the ancient Israelites, but then attempt to say that the Palestinians are the original people. Let's go to a 1925 video titled Circa 1925 North Africa and Jerusalem, which gives us a clear depiction of the Israelites during that time.
Arabic-speaking Muslims became the majority by roughly the 10th and 12th centuries and held the greatest numbers for the subsequent approximately 800 to 1,000 years until the 20th century shifts. Now, that's an accurate representation that Jews formed the majority in antiquity and maintained an unbroken presence for 3,000 years. There are Jews that are still living there on the land today that have been there forever and ever and ever. And he goes on to say that, though this group has reduced over the last 1,500 years, why is that group reduced? Some of them have left, but a lot of them converted out of Judaism because it's a religion, not anything other than a religion. Despite what they try to teach you, when they try to say, no, it's an ethno-religion, it's more than a religion. No, it isn't, because people convert out of it all the time and people convert into it. Not all the time, but it happens, right? But like I said, the vast majority of Jews, the 10 tribes, converted out. So obviously it's not an ethnicity, it's actually just a religion. So then it goes on to say, I say to Grok, this next said, Grok, I didn't ask you what religion they were. Many people converted from Judaism to Christianity to Islam. In fact, most historical Jewish families converted out of Judaism. Is it possible that many of the modern Palestinians are direct descendants of the ancient people of the Levant? So, Jews. And Grok's answer is yes. Genetic studies show modern Palestinians derive the majority of their ancestry, often 80% plus, from Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite populations, the same deep substrate shared with Jewish groups.
So because of my office also in the parliament, they also approached me, the government of Israel, said, can you help us to collect some samples of DNA? We want to do our own test because we are hearing about your claim that you are Jews, but we want to do our own test on you. So I told them that it's not easy to go and tell someone that I want to collect your blood. It's not easy. So no, we don't take blood. We take saliva. So oh, that's okay. So they sent me a kit from Tel Aviv. Then I collected some saliva, DNA samples. It was about 200 from the Lemba and about 60 from non-Lembas. And I sent it to Israel. So A year later, I went there to Israel to collect the results. And I met a guy at a hotel called Ramat Rashe Hotel in Jerusalem. So he gave me the results. So he said, we were sitting in the lounge. He said, do you see that? Because in Israel, there's a lot of black people, black boys doing the manual work. They sweep the roads, they run around, they sweeping, cleaning the hotels and all that. So there was one black boy, I think he's from Sudan or Ethiopia. He said, look at, you see that boy? I said, yes. He said, his DNA percentage is about 26%. So he said, but with us here, if you look at me, I'm a Jew, but my percentage is 1.5%. That's my DNA percentage. But with those samples we sent to us, they reveal that the labor percentage is 70%, 70%. Not only that you are Jews, but that your blood is only found in the Levites. Not only in the Levites, but in the Kohanim, in the priests of Israel. So that's what he told me. Then I thought maybe he was going to give us an official something written that this is our findings. But up to today, they haven't given me the results.
Tell us more about your work and the coursework that you're doing, because you are a real advocate for this topic and why it's so important in the times we're living in.
I appreciate it. I think the most important thing is like the if so, so what? So we've established that there are these individuals over here, but the next question is, what do we do about it? Is everyone's supposed to convert and come back to Israel? But if we think that way, there's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity. There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
Is there a reason that the Jewish people that represent, and I want to get back to this because you didn't let me finish a while ago, they represent 0.2% of the world's population. In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total. In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
16 million.
100 million.
16 million.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity coming from the tribes. And Israel's, smaller than the size of New Jersey. Is it sustainable to think in the way of having to convert and bring back? And if you look at the Lemba, they don't even want to convert. They said, why are we converting to something we're already part of?
Conversions to Christianity and later Islam occurred over centuries with substantial population continuity rather than replacement. So this is not a group of Arabs that showed up and invaded the land. These are people that over time started speaking Arabic and over time converted to Christianity and then converted to Islam. But they're the same people. They're the same people. And that is what genetic tests have proven. The broader Jewish people preserved ethno-religious identity via diaspora endogamy, which is marrying themselves, through Levantine Jewish numbers, though Levantine Jewish numbers declined partly through conversion and emigration. So some left and some converted out of Judaism. So then I asked Grok, okay, so in scientific numbers, the Arabic-speaking, Muslim-practicing populations in the Levant are the largest group of people living on that land for the longest amount of time. They outnumber the Jews who are arriving this past century and are even more indigenous to the land than many of the modern Jews who claim to be indigenous to the land. That's my statement to Grok. And Grok says both share substantial Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite ancestry. Palestinians often 80% plus. Many Jewish groups are 50% to 90%. Local conversions created Arabic-speaking Muslim majorities with continuity. So that means they didn't immigrate in. They've been there forever. They learned new languages. They adopted new religions. That's who these people are. Jews kept ethno-religious identity and continuous communities. Modern arrivals include Mizrahi and High Levantine DNA, plus diaspora returnees. Genetics show shared deep roots, not exclusive claim by recent language or faith. He's saying their cousins are the same people. Many of them are the same people. Then I said, okay, Grok, which group has the most Levantine DNA that in sheer numbers is larger and has been there longer, modern Jews or the current Arab-speaking populations? And Grok says, Arab-speaking Levantine populations, especially Palestinians, typically show higher average Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite ancestry, often 70 to 87%, and form larger continuous local numbers with longer uninterrupted residences after antiquity through continuity and conversions. Jewish groups share the same deep substrate, 50% to 90% by subgroup, plus continuous communities, but many modern numbers reflect diaspora returns. Studies confirm shared roots. So when they say, oh, it's the Jews, the ancient Jews of the Bible who are coming home and God said, they're actually massacring the true Jews who actually have been there throughout this entire time. That's why I call many, especially the Ashkenazi Jews, I call them trans Jews. They're not real Jews. They converted 800 years after the death of Christ. They converted to Judaism, and now they're coming back and saying, they're not coming back, they're just entering the land and saying, this is ancestrally mine because it says in the Bible, Jews, and you guys aren't Jews, you're Muslims and you're Arabs, and you don't speak the language of Hebrew, which Jesus didn't either, he spoke Aramaic. But this is the big claim that many Zionist, Christian Zionist Jews, that many Zionist Jews use, and it's important, I think, that we keep hammering home the fact that that is inaccurate, totally and completely inaccurate, and especially with Zionist Christians. You might not be able to get the Zionist Jews because, they want the land, and they're just using any excuse they can to get the land. But you might be able to actually change the mind of Zionist Christians and get them to understand that you're actually supporting a non-Jew from the viewpoint of the Bible, of the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. From that perspective, you are promoting and supporting a non-Jew, a Gentile actually, who adopts the identity of Jew and goes in there and kills the real descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Without getting too semantic, or at the risk of getting too semantic, does it matter that the Jews are not Semites, or does this phrase anti-Semitism just means hatred for the Jewish people? They're Ashkenazi, they're Eastern European Jews.
What makes you think they actually are? I mean, anyone can make these claims.
I'm about to show you something extremely controversial. It's even illegal in the state of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. Now, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that.
This TikTok caused a storm online, with many debating what his results, which show no trace of being from Palestine or the Middle East, despite being Jewish, mean. DNA testing to prove Jewish ancestry is a hot-button political issue in Israel. For example, Israel's chief rabbinate has pushed for the ancestry DNA tests to be allowed to prove Jewishness in certain cases. In particular, many Jews who have emigrated to Israel from the Soviet Union, who may not have had the necessary paperwork that shows they are Jewish, have sought to get genetic tests done to show they are Jews. In 2019, a political scandal erupted when it appeared Russian Jews were secretly submitting DNA tests to the rabbinate in order to obtain the right to move to Israel.
Well, did you accept that black people? You accepted that black people are Jew, or
I'll come to that in a moment.
Brothers and sisters, blacks of America, it's you. You are the true Hebrews. You are the true Hebrews from the Bible.
There is something special about you, Judah. There is something special about you, Israel, or Yashara'al. When I say Judah, Yahwadah. That is the ancient pronunciation of the word. There is something special about you, Judah. Yahweh only spoke to you, to us, as a nation. And he spoke to no other nation. That's why we are supposed to be what? That light. We're Yah's chosen people that's separated. We're supposed to be the nation that's teaching the nations, not the nations teaching us.
Lion of Judah come upon the earth, bringing unquenchable fire. All the tribes of Israel and the believers stand in power. Speak with authority, worship uncontrollably. There's something about you, Judah. Fire upon the kingdom of darkness. We may suffer for a little while, but joy cometh in the morning.
Judah special, no wonder we were a chosen vessel. In and out of captivity, weaving like a pretzel. Messiah come through the tribe, clean out the bloodline. We disciples, so put us up on the front line. Face to face with crime, cause we ain't scared to grind. When you connect the divine, we stay pressed for time. Evangelize, get defined, put us in prison in. Worship first, we always invite the spirit in. All revival through a pen, stacking souls in empty bins. Joe in the morning, this a warning, you will never win. Fire upon the head of the serpent, he next tail chirping. It's too late cause your tail's already burning. I don't want your riches, got a mansion with gold streets. Movers all around me, the light shine, no police. The living used to be deceased, resurrected to a feast. Nothing like being in peace at the table with the meat.
What's your thoughts? Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click the like, click the notification bell, and subscribe to this channel.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis Genesis chapter 10. These were the children of Israel, according to Genesis chapter 10. These were the children of Israel, according to Genesis chapter 10.